Hi, I'm Mitchell Ringos. Welcome to Word for Word, where we offer you an in-depth look at some of our interviews with newsmakers from across the Northwest. Mayor Ken Boshkoff's proposed hiring freeze isn't sitting well with a union that would be impacted. The president of CUPE Local 87 says if council wants to cut spending, it should look at cuts to management.
Maybe we can start with the hiring freeze proposed by Mayor Boshkoff. What was immediate reaction on your end from that?
The immediate reaction for me was, obviously concerned that the positions that remain unfilled will stay unfilled. We want to see those positions filled before there's any sort of hiring freeze. I believe the number right now is around 72. So we want to see those positions filled, and I'm just concerned that there's not enough, people doing the work, it's putting a lot of pressure on the employees that are there.
Okay, and in terms of impact, I was going to ask that next. Impact maybe on your members as well as maybe the city as a whole. What kind of impact does it have having more than 70 workers, positions not filled?
Yeah, I mean, it puts a lot of strain on the employees. They're picking up the slack of the positions that aren't filled. And that's throughout the entire corporation. So, a lot of these employees take a lot of pride in their work, and when they have trouble getting their own tasks done because they're working on another project from another position, they take that home with them, and it's very stressful for our people.
Okay, and maybe in terms of other solutions, I'm sure no one is against lower taxes, of course, but in your mind, is there a more effective way to reach that aside from a hiring freeze? Yeah,
I mean, the numbers of supervisors and managers, in my opinion, is quite high. I gave some numbers to the other Gary, and we had some of our people look at those numbers, and actually, what it works out to be is we got 7 departments, 20 divisions, 1 CEO, 3 general managers, 11 directors, 16 senior positions, 33 managers, and 80 supervisors. So, I mean, I know they've thrown out some figures of, 15 workers for every supervisor or manager, and, that's not really the way that it works out. Some departments have 25 guys, so that means there's other departments with 5 guys that have a supervisor for 5 people. So I think it really needs to be looked at a little closer, and maybe they can find some savings there.
Okay, and have you spoken from your head, your position as the union head? I'm sure you've spoken to some of your members that would be affected by this hiring freeze. What is the word coming from them?
Generally the same thing. Everybody's concerned about all the extra work that they're having to do because the lack of the positions being filled. Again, it comes down to our workers. They take pride in their job, and when you take pride in your position and you can't get the work that you have finished, you bring that home with you, and it affects your home life.
Okay, and final question on this topic: has maybe Mayor Boshkoff, anyone reached out to you? Obviously, it has to go to council on Monday. There's a discussion. Isn't approved yet, but has anyone reached out to you as the union head to kind of maybe speak to you, considering how affected members are?
We did have some discussions with the city about their reorganization. Basically, myself talking with the human resources manager, but Norm Gale and Mayor Boshkoff have not contacted me at all.
Repairs are nearly complete on the Mustache Express, and the popular Centennial Park attraction could be back on the rails this summer, pending an inspection by the Technical Standards and Safety Authority. The train has been plagued by operational issues in recent years. The latest came last month when an issue with one of its engine's new wheels caused it to slip off the track in the middle of a ride.
Yeah, so what exactly happened?
So that's the challenge with this ride. It's a very unique ride. It's going up an incline. It's going basically through the park itself. So, and when an event like this occurs, we have limited information, so we don't get to see exactly what occurred, especially when it's in the event of a derailment, it comes off the track, right? So there's no broken parts, there's no damage that points to exactly what the cause was. So each time this type of event occurs, we have to review everything from the train itself to the tracks, individual components, how they the condition of them at the location, all of these things. That's why this takes time. This is not something when this occurs that we can just turn around and put the ride back into service, as opposed to when we have, say, a wheel failure where it actually breaks. That one is obvious. You replace the wheel, you test it, you put it back in service. In these cases, we have to do a lot more work to make sure we understand as best as possible what occurred and what options we have to reduce the chance of this happening again in the future. So that's what we're actively working on right now.
And again, you said it happened in July. Was it on a weekend, on a weekday, early month, late in the month? Was weather also possibly a factor?
I believe it was the middle of the month. Weather wasn't a factor. So again, there were some variables that were in control. We don't operate the ride if it's raining. That's how we operate the ride. So yeah, we're actively working on, if you're out here, you'll see us doing some work on the track itself, testing the train. So we have a round of testing that we'll be doing this week and early next week to fully inform our steps going forward. Again, we are pursuing approval. Once we have all the information, we'll be pursuing approval to get the ride reinstated this summer. We're optimistic that that's still a possibility, but I just can't give a date at this point because we haven't been able to put the full package together.
I was obviously going to ask that. So, so it is possible that it will reopen this summer?
Yes, it is possible. That's what our goal is right now. But at this point, we don't have all the information together and it hasn't been reviewed, so I can't really commit to a timeline. But that is our objective.
Perfect. And I just want to go back again to the incident. So I guess how did you learn of what happened, or that something happened and that you're going to have to shut down the ride for an extended period of time?
So we have a very strict protocol on this ride at this point. If that type of incident occurs, everyone that's involved in operating it understands that it stays in place. The mechanic that operates under the TSSA authority, the city employee, is immediately brought into the fold to assess the situation and report it to TSSA. So essentially, as soon as this type of incident occurs, the ride is taken out of service immediately. We cannot operate it until the event itself is assessed and we can communicate to TSSA that it's safe to put the ride back into service.
And what went into putting the actual train back on the track once it was derailed?
For the current situation right now. So right now we basically, once it's reported, we request that we get it put back on the track, not to be in service, but just for testing purposes. So that can happen quicker. That's why you see it on the track. But to actually operate it for the public, we need to have basically a report submitted that explains what we've done to address the issue.
All right, and yeah, just again, was it like people were riding it and all of a sudden it went off the tracks, or it just, I guess, like it was noticed at some point when it happened that like something was loose or something wasn't quite right? Like, is that kind of what happened?
No, this was in service. It was there were people on the ride when the engine itself came off the track. It doesn't impact the passenger car at that point. Basically, the ride just comes to a stop. We do control, that's one of the changes we've made with the ride over the years, is we tightly control the speed at which it's operated. There is a portion of the track where we have to increase the speed to make it up to the top of the hill. Other than that, we control it at 3 miles per hour, I think, for most of the ride. So you'll see the signs posted around the track to inform the operator. So again, from a safety perspective, we are controlling everything we can to keep it safe. However, obviously, having it come off the rails is not something that we can just accept. We have to keep trying to address this.
And you mentioned there's still a little bit of testing to be done before it gets operational again this summer. What are some other steps, I guess, that have to be done before it reopens?
Yeah, we need to, again, we've got a few modifications where it came off. We have some track maintenance that we're going to do. Not that there was an obvious issue there, but there are some things we can do to further improve it, the track. So we'll be doing that, and we'll be testing the train on the track with the repaired wheels on the track itself. We actually have GoPro cameras that we install on the front of the train so that when we're doing our testing, we can follow and see exactly how the wheel is riding the rail. So we'll be doing that as well, just to verify as best we can that everything is running as designed, and that there's nothing consistently occurring that we can control that we haven't.
Lakehead University is reigniting a decades-long relationship with natural resource scientists in Ghana to renew research and training opportunities for LU students. The school has welcomed a delegation here to learn more about forestry, mining, and agriculture.
Can you just talk a little bit about, I guess, what's going on here today?
So we have, in our faculty, we've had a relationship with Ghana since the early 90s, and it sort of tapered off in the early 2000s, and so we're sort of restarting it up. So we have 6 partners with a memorandum of understanding signed, and we're doing research on transferring knowledge and data that we've developed here at Lakehead in forestry, mining, agriculture, fisheries, things like that. Using certain technologies we've developed. Again, in my group we have a wood science app that's used for mapping forest properties individually and at the landscape level. So we'll be doing that with a lot of the forests in Ghana to look at underutilized species for new product potentials, as well as using remote sensing and geomatics technology, so drones and UAVs for tracking things like illegal mining or logging, and also tracking forest operations and other aspects of natural resource management. So that's the basis of the research, and then the idea is to have training, so bringing students back and forth between our schools at the undergrad level and also for graduate students, and then also have exchanges of professors and researchers to come and stay for terms here and terms there. So the idea is to, again, in a nutshell, this to sort of share knowledge we've developed here at Lakehead and continue our relationship in Ghana, as we've had it for decades now. So yeah.
I was going to say, can you talk about the importance of just keeping that relationship together?
Well, part of our mandate is, Andy Dean, our VP of Research, mentioned, is to work internationally and share our knowledge base. So for Lakehead, it's one of our mandates, and it's important to us. In our faculty, we've got a long history of international collaborations. I work in Ghana. I also work in South Africa. And we have professors working literally in countries all over the world. So we're very big on this, and we like it. We use it in our international field schools and other activities we do within the program. So it's important for Lakehead to be known globally.
Can you maybe give an overview about what this trip will look like for them, and the different places they'll be going?
Well, it's sort of our first trip that they've come to Canada and to Lakehead. And so they came in on the weekend, and we've been having meetings. So I've been bringing in speakers from different groups across campus that will be relevant to the work we're going to do in Ghana, showing them facilities we have here, our research facilities, as well as other facilities in Thunder Bay. So we're going to be going to the conservatory. We're going out to the bush with some of the Resolute staff to look at forest operations, to compare them, and we've got speakers coming in to talk about various topics, planting trees, management of resources and stuff like that. So we have several speakers during the week. One of the days we are going to go out on Sail Superior, so we can take them for a nice sailing on our bay, just so they can see what our shorelines look like compared to theirs, because they're on the Atlantic Ocean. So that's part of what we're looking at, is shoreline management and fisheries as well. So the idea is to sort of a show and tell. Here's what we have, and here's what we have to offer, and here's how we can contribute to working in Ghana.
That's really all I have. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, no, like I say, in our faculty we're small, but these are the kind of things we like doing, and we have a relationship here. And like I say, the Ghanaian people are really beautiful people, so it's a pleasure working there. And we've made lots of good friends, and I'm sure they'll continue to be lifelong friends there. So we're excited.
I work with CSR, Forestry Research Institute of Ghana. CSR is Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. We have 13 different research institutions, and the one I work with is the forestry research. We are mandated to conduct sustainable forest research and then develop technologies for sustainable management of the forest.
So can you maybe just talk a little bit about your trip here and why you decided to come out to Thunder Bay?
Okay, so over here, over the years, we had collaboration with Lakehead University. We have some of our staff studying here, and along the line, I take a tip down a little bit, but through Professor Matthew Lech, the relationship has been revived. So over a few years ago, they come to Ghana with their students, and we have been looking at possible ways of transfer technology and also knowledge so that we can create a sustainable resource management system in Ghana. And Matt has developed some technologies. It's a wood science app or wood property mapping where they relate the property of wood to the landscape. And for me, it's very fantastic. Said that in Ghana you have several wood species growing on the landscape. We are using very few of them. So with science and technology, with Lakehead, we know we can maximize and create opportunities for all forest stakeholders. So here, we are here for a study tour to see the technologies that Lakehead University have created, developed, also see your facilities, your equipment and tools, and the way you do your things, and the industry, so that we can learn from there, and then also develop a major project which will benefit Lakehead University and then my people in Ghana.
And can you maybe talk about the importance of keeping this collaboration with Lakehead University in Ghana?
Yes, it's so important in the sense that it creates an opportunity for Lakehead University students to visit Ghana, or faculty members also to visit Ghana, and also for Ghanaian students and faculty and staff also to visit. And another important thing is that Lakehead has a lot of technologies which we may not have. So we want to also look at possibilities of adopting your technologies and apply it in managing our forests. Yeah. At the same time, we have tropical trees, Lakehead hardwoods, and Lakehead you tend to have both conifers and hardwoods. So it's also an opportunity for Lakehead also to learn from Ghana. So that makes it very important. The world is becoming small, and it's important that we exchange knowledge and technology to create a better world for the future.
And how long are you guys staying in Canada for?
Yeah, for this trip, we are here for a week. We came on Saturday, and we hope to leave here on the 12th. Yeah, 12th of August. Yeah.
And is there anything you're looking forward to for this trip?
Excuse me?
Is there anything that you're looking forward to doing in Canada?
Yes. For now, yesterday we had a very wonderful trip. We visited the instrumentation lab. There are some equipment I've read about them being used in research, but I've not seen them personally. I have to admit that. And yesterday, the first time I saw some of them, and that was very, very interesting. And we look forward to meeting other faculty members, what they are doing so far as sustainable natural forest management is concerned, how they do it, what technology they have developed, and how we can also adopt that in Ghana and create a sustainable sector in Ghana. Yeah. So we look forward to that.
I guess that's all I really have. Is there anything else you'd like to add that we haven't touched on?
Oh yeah, first of all, I really want to thank Lakehead University, Professor Matthew Lech and his group and his team. We also want to thank the people of Canada, the people of Thunder Bay for receiving us. And we look forward for better collaboration and to create a better world. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for today's edition of Word for Word. We'll be back next week with more interviews from across the Northwest.